Hello everyone. Good afternoon students. I ARUNA BAJPAI, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, will discuss the topic Introduction of Internet and WWW in today's lecture. I already discussed in the previous lecture of the overview of this subject, Internet and Web Technology. So in previous lecture I discussed the content of this subject according to the unit wise and what are the prerequisite of this subject, what are the learning outcomes, when will this course will covered. So these points are discussed in previous lecture. In today's lecture we will discuss this content. So these are some points that we are discussed in today's lecture. Prerequisite of topic, Internet, history of Internet, architecture of Internet, WWW, client-server architecture, student effective learning outcomes and references. So these topics are covered in today's lecture. So first we will study the prerequisite of this topic, introduction of Internet and WWW. So all the students that will be know about the basic knowledge of Internet and web or Internet and WWW, because in this lecture we will discuss about the meaning of Internet, applications of Internet and what are the architecture of Internet and WWW. So I think you all of the students know about this concept because all are using the Internet. So with the help of Internet we will discuss the concept of WWW. Now सबसे पहले हम स्टडी करेंगे व्हाट इज़ एन इंटरनेट. इंटरनेट क्या होता है? सभी को पता होगा इंटरनेट का मीनिंग होता है ए ग्लोबल नेटवर्क दैट विल कनेक्ट मिलियंस ऑफ कंप्यूटर्स. इंटरनेट की हेल्प से आप अपने डिफरेंट कंप्यूटर्स को कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं एंड जो आपका एक नेटवर्क होता है, जो होल वर्ल्ड या ग्लोबल नेटवर्क में आप जितने भी कंप्यूटर्स को कनेक्ट करते हैं, वो आपका जो कनेक्शन होता है वो विद द हेल्प ऑफ आप इंटरनेट करते हैं. बिकॉज इंटरनेट टर्म is defined into the combination of two words. And what are these two words? Internet will be breaked into two words. First word is related to inter and second word is related to net. So inter means interconnection and net means network. So internet means interconnection of computers and network means when we will interconnect different types of computer, so it will called internet. The internet links are computer network all over the world so that user can resources and communicate with each other. इंटरनेट की हेल्प से हम अपने कंप्यूटर नेटवर्क में जितने भी आपके वर्ल्ड में नेटवर्क हैं, जितने भी आपके कंप्यूटर्स हैं, उनको विद दी हेल्प ऑफ कंप्यूटर आप कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. और इंटरनेट का जो बेसिक आपका पर्पस है इंटरनेट कनेक्शन का, इंटरनेट का मीनिंग होता है जैसे ही आपने अपने नेटवर्क में कंप्यूटर्स को कनेक्टेड किया, सो विद दी हेल्प ऑफ दिस इंटर कनेक्शन यूज़र कैन शेयर रिसोर्सेज एंड कम्युनिकेट विथ ईच अदर. Suppose you are seated here and your friend, your family person is seated on different city. So you will can communicate with the help of internet. Because here, what do you mean by network? Basically, network can be divided into two types. I think you already know about these type. First one is LAN, second is MAN, and third one is WAN. Full form of LAN is local area network, MAN is metropolitan area network, and WAN means wide area network. So local area network or LAN is used into a small range. Suppose we want to use network into same building, into same institute, so we will use the network connection into the form of LAN. Suppose we want to use the network into same city or some larger distance from the LAN, so this type of network is called MAN. And if we want to use a network within a whole world or within a distance of long distance, so this type of network is called WAN. So these are the three categories that is related to the network. Now this is the representation of इंटरनेट. मैंने आप सभी को बताया इंटरनेट का मीनिंग होता है डिफरेंट कंप्यूटर्स को एक ग्लोबल नेटवर्क में कनेक्ट करना. एंड ये एक आपके डिफरेंट कंप्यूटर्स हैं. डिफरेंट कंप्यूटर्स इज लाइक 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. And 7 to 8 computers are connected here within a single network. So this area or this network is represented into the term of internet. So this is called a global network. Why is it called a global network or internet? Because all the network or all the computers are interconnected for communicating purpose also, for exchanging information also. So here we will use the term global interconnection network. Now we will discuss about the history of internet. So main or important point related to history is that in the year 1969 one network is developed, and that particular network named is defined into the term of ARPANET, ARPANET, and the full form of ARPANET is Advanced Research Project Agency, and it is sponsored by the American Department of Defense, and the short form of American Department of Defense means DOD. So it will define the network for defense purpose, or we can say military purpose. So this is the first network that is developed in 1969. So after the 1980, or we can say 1990, the main use of internet will be developed. Now what is the initial aim to develop this network? Basically the initial purpose of developing the internet or this type of network was to communicate and share resources among the user. If you want to communicate anything like into the form of resources also, into the form of message also, so one user to another user we will communicate with into the form of exchanging the information with the help of this type of network. Now the next question arises, who invented or who is the father of the internet? So the name of the father of the internet is Winton Gray, and in short we call the name of the father of the internet is VINT, Vint, and this is the short form of the father Winton Gray. In the short name we will call Vint. Now the next topic that is related to the internet and history, when we will study about the connection of internet, how we will connect to the internet, or any user can connect to the internet from various type. First of all, if you want to connect to the internet, so you need an ISP. ISP means Internet Service Provider, because this service will provide to connect to the internet. If you will not able to provide this ISP, so you will not connect to the internet. And this ISP can be defined into the following types, like if we want to connect the internet, we will use modem also. The full form of modem is modulator and demodulator. So there are different types of internet service provider that will connect to the internet. Like here I will mention some of the types of an ISP. Like first type is dial up. Dial up means like we will connect the telephone for connecting the internet. So we will use the telephone in this type of internet service provider, dial up. Broadband is also the another type of ISP. So we will use also broadband connectivity to connect to the internet. Wireless is also used to connection to the internet, and wireless mobile is another ISP that will connect to the internet. And with the help of satellite also we want to connect the internet, so our connection is established. So these are the different types of ISP that will define here for connect to the internet. And other type of ISP also, like modem also used for connecting to the internet. Then Bluetooth, by using the Bluetooth you will also connect to the internet. So these are some type of internet service provider for connecting to the internet facility. Now we will study how internet works. When we will connect the internet, now the next topic is the working procedure of the internet. Basically the working procedure of internet will define into the term of IP address. So what do you mean by IP address? Basically each computer connected to the internet must have a unique address, and that particular address is defined into the form of an IP address. So what do you mean by IP address? IP address is just a 32-bit numeric address, and that is written into the 4 numbers with the representation of the 4 numbers into the form of dot operator, or we can say period symbol, means like dot operator, like 1, dot 2, dot 3, dot 4. So it will define into the form of IP address. So total number of numeric address will be defined into the form of 32 bit, and the range of IP address is defined by starting value 0 to 255. And when we will use the unique address to connect to the internet, so this unique address is defined IP address, and in IP address we will use also DNS concept. DNS means domain name server, that define the name that identify internet site. So this identification can be done with the help of DNS, domain name server. So in the detailed description of DNS is described in the next lectures. So when we will talk about the IP address is defined into the different categories, like class A address, class B address, class C address, and class D address. It will depend on the range. According to the range we will categorize our different types of class on the basis of IP address. Now this is the diagram that will represent how internet works. Here this is a computer and this is the second computer, and this computer is defined into the form of your computer, and this computer is defined into the form of another computer. So when we will transmit or communicate with these two computers. So these two computers will be connected into the form of internet, because internet is a collection of different types of network that will connected into the form of internet. So here this is a network also, and this computer is also related into the term of network also. So I defined to you already in the previous slide. Here we will use an IP address. An IP address is represented into the form of 4 numbers, like here 1.2.3.4. So this is the representation of IP address into the form of 4 numbers with dot symbol. So this is an unique IP address or an unique address that will define your computer, and this computer is defined another address, and that particular address is represented into the terms of IP address of this computer, and this computer IP address is represented into the term of 5.6.7.8. So according to this concept, internet works when we want to connect different computers or different networks with the help of the internet. So all the computers or all the hosts are defined with a single unique address, and this particular address is called IP address, and the range of the IP address is 0 to 255. Now we will study about the layered architecture of internet. So when we will move the layered architecture of internet, first we will define what do you mean by TCP IP protocol. So TCP IP protocol means transmission control protocol, and we will call IP protocol. So transmission control protocol or IP protocol is an important protocol that will very useful in internet for transmission. So full form of TCP IP is transmission control protocol or internet protocol. So why we will define this architecture into the terms of layered architecture? Because in the layered architecture of internet there will be 3 types of layer. First layer is internet protocol, second layer is transfer control protocol, and third layer is called application layer. So here we will use a protocol, and the name of that particular protocol is TCP IP. Now what do you mean by the term protocol? Protocol is generally defined a set of rules, and according to those rules we will work on the internet. So these set of rules are defined into the form of protocol. Now we will discuss about the different layers. What is the role of internet protocol? So basically internet protocol or internet layer will be used to define to travel the packets into a across number of hosts in a network. Suppose we want to send our data into the form of packets. So these packets are travel one host to the another host into a network, and it will reach to the destination with the help of internet protocol. So this is the role of internet protocol. It will define for traveling number of packets with one host to another host, and it will reach up to the destination. Second type of protocol is transfer control protocol. So what is the role of transfer control protocol? Transfer control protocol generally used for transmission. When we want to complete our transmission into the form of one network to the another network or one computer to another computer, so it provides end-to-end transmission, and each and every node on one destination network connected with another node on network. So like in one network you will have suppose 5 nodes or 5 computer, and in second network you will also have 5 nodes, or we can say 5 computer. So each and every node on the destination network connected with the other node on network. So this is the role of transmission control protocol for providing end-to-end transmission, and it will connect two networks for transferring the information. Now third type of layer is called application layer. Application layer is provided here because it has used different types of protocols according to the service. Like if you want to done the application with the help of internet, like you want to email some user, so you need to SMTP. SMTP means, the full form of SMTP means simple mail transfer protocol. So it will helpful to email application. Now next type of protocol is used in the application layer is like FTP. If you want to transfer your file with one network to another network, so it will depend on the FTP protocol will be used here, and the full form of FTP is file transfer protocol. So according to the services we will use different types of protocols in the application layer. Now these are some applications, or we can discuss where the internet will be used. Like first application is www, World Wide Web. So in the World Wide Web, without the internet we will not done anything. So this is the first application of internet. If we want to done email, the full form of email is electronic mail. So with the help of internet we will done this email, otherwise it will not done. Search engine is another type of application that will also used internet, because if you want to search anything on the network, so according to the searching, or searching can be done into the form of like keyword also, or into the form of image also. Anything that you want to search, it will be used the application of internet. So search engine is also the application of internet. Next application of internet is FTP. I already discussed about the term FTP, file transfer protocol. So if you want to transfer any file over the network, so we will use the protocol FTP. Telnet is another application of internet, and this network is used generally for telephonic network, and the full form of telnet is telephonic network. Now in the chatting, you already know about this application. This application is also used the concept of internet, because if you want to chat anything by any different user or your any friend, so without internet you will not done your chatting. E-commerce is the another type of application that will also use the concept of internet, because e-commerce means like you want to purchase anything into the terms of like online shopping or any website that will depend on the web pages or internet. So e-commerce is the application of the internet. Now the next topic of today lecture is www. In today lecture I will discuss about the two terms internet and www. This is the first topic of your first unit. So we will start the next topic. What do you mean by www? You already know about the full form of www. www stands for World Wide Web, and according to this the World Wide Web, there is also used the protocol, and in www we will use the protocol HTTP for all the resources and users on the internet, and in internet we will use the protocol TCP. So the full form of HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. By using this protocol we will use or create our website, for designing the website into the form of HTML also. And www is a collection of huge documents, or we can say this type of huge collection or huge documents is defined into the term of web pages. So what do you mean by web pages? Web pages is a collection of documents that are defined on the World Wide Web. So it is called web pages. Now, who invented the term www? www is invented by Tim Berners-Lee in 1990 at CERN laboratory. CERN is the name of particular laboratory, and in the year 1990 the scientist named Tim Berners-Lee is invented www. So Tim Berners-Lee was invented the concept of World Wide Web. There is also a standard organization that will define the concept of WWWC. WWWC is also defined into the term of W3C, and the full form of W3C is World Wide Web Consortium. C is mentioned here into the form of consortium. So it is also a standard organization to define the concept of World Wide Web. Now, what do you mean by website? I already discussed to you. Website meaning it is a collection of related web pages. So all the web pages, if we are connected into a single form, or we will connect different web pages into one form, so this type of collection is called website. And website is defined into the two types, like static website and dynamic website. So I defined to you the concept of static and dynamic website in the detail when we will discuss about the concept of web server, web browser. So in the next lecture we will discuss about this concept also. Now, first page that is display on the website is known as home page. I think you know about this term. What do you mean by home page? Home page is the first page that will represent on the particular website, and this home page will connect it to the different types of link with the connection of hypermedia documents or hyperlink form. So website is a collection of different types of audio, video, images and animation. So in any website all the objects are represented, and it is a collection, or we can say combination of audio, video, graphics and animation and text also. Now, what are the components that will represent www? So there are some types of components that we will very helpful to discuss about the concept of www. Like first component is client and server. So www is based on this architecture, client and server architecture approach. It follow the concept of client and server model. Second component that will be very useful for World Wide Web is internet. And what do you mean by internet? I already discussed about the internet. And HTTP, this is the another important component. With the help of this protocol we will generate our web pages, and this protocol will be very helpful to get response and put response. So HTTP use different types of methods, get and put, for request and response. The full form of HTTP is Hyper Text Transfer Protocol. Now another type of scripting language is the component of www, like HTML. HTML means hypertext markup language. So this language is used for developing a web page or creating a web page. Now the next or important component is URL. So what do you mean by URL? The full form of URL is Uniform Resource Locator. So when the web page will open, so there is an address bar. So an address bar will represent it into the term of Uniform Resource Locator. So with the help of Uniform Resource Locator, you will identify the name of your particular website. And here HTTP is used to generally transfer the hypertext document and how the messages or documents are formatted. So according to the HTTP, we will merge our document into the formatted mode. So these are some components. With the help of this component, www works. Now this is the important architecture of the www, and this architecture or this model is called client-server architecture. So what do you mean by client-server architecture? Basically, client is defined a network, or we can say define a host or any machine, and server is defined into the form of another host or another node. So there are two nodes. First one is represented into the form of client and second one is represented into the form of server. So client and server will be defined into the term of when we will use the concept of www. So client give the request to the internet, or with the help of www or internet, it will access the request to the server, and server search that particular request or access that particular request, and if the request will be matched, so according to the basis of client request, it will give the result into the form of response. So there are two types of host, or we can say machine. First one is called client and second one is called server. So when we will communicate on the network into the form of World Wide Web, so this model is very helpful. Like in this model, client is represented into the term of browser, server is represented into the term of application. So the request is defined into this arrow, client to server. This process is called request, and when we will perform the reply from server to client, so this process is called into the form of response. So here in this architecture, what requested will be provided with from the client. Here the requested is defined into the term of book information. So like any browser or any user can search the request into the form of book information. So this query will be goes here, and according to this network, it will search this book information into our server. And if the server request the client information into the form of like book information into the form of like book catalog, price of the book, stock of the book, if it is available or if it is not available. So according to this request based on the client, the response will be go back from server to client, and the request is defined into the term of book, list and description. So when any client give the request into the form of book information, So first it will search it on the server. Server is a database, and whatever the request will be searched, it will be response into the form of book, list and description. So this is the client server architecture or client server model. According to this architecture, www works. Now if we want to access the web, so what are the steps for accessing the web? First step or important step, you have your internet connection. If you have your internet connection, then you need a special type of software, and that particular software is called a web browser. So if you have internet connection, so a special software called a browser to access the web. So for accessing the web, first point is compulsory that you have internet connection. Then if you have internet connection, so you need some type of software for browsing or accessing your request of the web, and these browsers are defined into the form of web browser. So what do you mean by web browser? Generally web browser is defined a special type of programs, and web browser are used to connect you to remote computers, open and transfer file, display text and images. So these are the special program, and with the help of this software we will access the web. Now there are some learning outcomes that will be affected to the student. First outcome is like lifelong learning ability. So with the help of internet and www, if you know the basic knowledge of internet and www, so this will very helpful for lifelong purpose, and according to this you will design to thinking ability, how we will create the programs that will create the web pages. So these are two outcomes. There may be some other outcomes also, but the main outcomes are represented here. Now for referencing or for study internet and web, you will refer these two books like Internet and World Wide Web for author Detail and Detail, and second is web design, and I discussed or I prefer to you the second reference Internet and World Wide Web for studying about the basic concept of internet and www. Thank you to all for today lecture, and in the next lecture we will discuss about the concept of like web browser, web server and HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. And in this lecture I give the introduction of internet and www, like its architecture, its history and its application. Thank you to all.